I'm Jonathan Van Bilsen. On behalf of the Scugog Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to welcome you to our show. Our guest today is Peter Bocking, one of the principals of Bocking and Grieve, and he's going to share all you need to know about the benefit side of insurance. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce and welcome the new Executive Director for the Scugog Chamber of Commerce, Carrie Ann Large.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Yes, I'm the new Executive Director of the Scugog Chamber, and welcome to everybody that has joined us and is tuning in today. First, we'd like to say thank you to our sponsor for today. Without our generous sponsors, we can't hold these events. So thank you to Scugog Computers for being such a generous sponsor of these series. So I get the pleasure to introduce our speaker today, and that is Peter Bocking from Bocking and Grieve. So Peter sent me a little bio, so I'm going to just read it so that you guys can get a little bit of an insight into to what Peter does. So employee attraction and retention, 15 years says that that's something sometimes easier said than done, but that's where Peter comes in. Peter's passion is understanding a corporate culture and tailoring an affordable, sustainable benefits plan to complement that culture, and then explaining your options in easy to understand terms. He believes that a business who cares about their employees' needs the rights, tools, and the compensation to show it. And that business deserves an expert who specializes in just that. People work for so much more than a paycheck these days. And if you can dream it, Peter can probably help you build it. When he's not busy insurancing, as he says, you can probably find Peter with his band entertaining crowds at various events around the GTA. And Peter, one thing you didn't put in here is that you were also a proud Rotarian, and that's where you and I met.
That's absolutely right. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for an introduction like that, Carrie. And my goodness. Okay. Thank you. Yes. So I'm just going to jump straight into sharing my screen here. Insurancing, as fun as it sounds, can get a little bit dry. So we're going to try and make this an enjoyable experience for anyone who's watching us today. As Carrie Ann said so kindly earlier, employee benefits is kind of my expertise, and certainly in today's day, post-COVID, hopefully it's behind us. Attracting and retaining employees has become a real marker for a lot of employers everywhere. And so hopefully this is relevant content and something that's helpful for folks. Employee benefits obviously only being one of many ways that that employers are exploring and looking for ways to attract and retain their talent. And so we're going to speak a little bit about that today. I'm going to highlight very specifically, obviously, the Chambers of Commerce Group Benefits Program. It is a very powerful tool for businesses across Canada, small businesses across Canada to use to accomplish this goal. And I'm going to speak a little bit about why that is and what's different about it compared to so many others that are out there today. So just very quickly, I'll introduce my team. Bocking and Grieve is the name of our firm. As mentioned, we specialize in two areas, really, employee benefits and commercial insurance. My partner, James, focuses all of his energies on commercial insurance. And myself, Monique, Melissa, our team spent all of our time focused on the employee benefits side. And in an effort to try to make it a little bit light, I have to say, if this company existed, 20 years ago, there would really only be one small change, and that would be me with a full head of hair. Look at that picture. Just unbelievable. Oh, to dream, right? What do you think, Carrie Ann? It's a good look. Okay, so Bocking and Grieve, we're a brokerage. We operate like a brokerage, which means we have relationships with a number of providers out there in the benefits world. As I said, the Chambers of Commerce, I'm proud to say, is one of them. We work with a number of different partners, though, depending on the needs of the employer and what they're trying to accomplish for themselves from a budget perspective, from a coverage perspective, from a technology perspective. There's all kinds of different carriers out there that we work with, just depending on the needs of the individual. And like I said, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Chambers of Commerce Group Benefits Program. So as a member of a local chamber, the Scugog Chamber is a fine example. You have access to a program for employee benefits, and you must be a member of a chamber or board of trade in order to be able to access it. And it truly is, as they say, for your benefit. Pun very much intended. So we're going to speak a little bit about that today. I'm going to stay off of the subject of, what are the coverages? What do I get with my new car? Because honestly, any benefits program, we have certain expectations that, of course, should just exist. So I could spend a whole bunch of time talking about coverages and massage therapy and prescription medications and dental services and all kinds of things that we should expect to see in any benefits program that we're considering buying for our employees or making available to our employees. The Chamber plan also covers all those types of similar services, so we won't spend a lot of time on that here today. I want to talk about the things that make the program a little bit unique and a little bit fun, I guess, in a way. So we're not going to talk much about Canada's Wonderland here, but we definitely have all heard the stories. If you've spent any time looking or reading or learning about employee benefits, you've probably heard the stories about the ups and downs and twists and turns of your benefit renewals, the premiums, and that kind of thing. And the reason I want to focus on that is it's one thing to say, as an employer, I want to give an attractive benefits program to my employees. It's another thing to make sure that you can afford it. And even going one step further, not only afford it, but make sure that you can afford it for years to come. Because as you can imagine, an employee benefits package isn't just about solving an immediate problem today. It's a really hard thing to take away from your employees down the road if all of a sudden you hit a point where you're struggling with your affordability. So I'm all about not only making sure we found something that you're proud to give to your team or make available to your team in this part of your compensation. I'm also very much about making sure that you can afford it for years ahead, and hopefully maybe even build on it down the road to improve that compensation as you move forward in your business. So that's really where we're going to spend some time. I've removed the insurance carrier name off of this particular sheet. This is a renewal that I came across a few years ago, and I think just this as an example really highlights the point that I'm hoping to get across today. And so what I'm going to, I won't spend a lot of time on it, but what I will point out to you is you are seeing a red circle in the bottom left side of your screen there. You don't have to rub your eyes. That is a 115.2% increase to this particular employer's renewal premiums. So yes, that means their premiums in this particular year, which happened to be 2020, their premiums more than doubled. This is, as you can see, there are 17 employees in this firm. This is not a massive organization. It's a local business like we all are. And there wasn't even really any particularly, unwell people within the plan. They were just using it and getting good value out of it. The problem more so was the fact that the insurance company was dramatically undercharging on the premiums that were required for the level of benefits that were being provided to the employees. I really just wanted to highlight this to show that the sky is the limit for an insurance company. Traditionally, they will do whatever it is that they need to do to make sure that they're profitable. They're also running a business, and that's fine. But my job as your broker is to kind of make sure that that's sort of not happening to you. You're not sort of receiving these kinds of surprises. And this is obviously very much an extreme example. We don't always see 100% increases, but it definitely highlights. And really what's happening here is the insurance company is saying, you're seeing terminology on here called a loss ratio. Basically what they're telling you is for every dollar the employer paid in premium that year, the insurance company paid $1.48 in claims for those employees within that organization. And they will only sort of go along for that ride for so long before they start to say, we need to see some profits coming out of this relationship. Otherwise, we'll need you to move on to another provider. And again, that's just doing business. But my job is to look out for you. And is that what you're looking for? The answer is probably no. So then I wanted to take a bit of a different angle at it here. So this here is a bit of a sampling. These are 15 of the clients, the group benefits clients that I work with. There's a larger pool, but I just sort of took a sampling that kind of gave different ranges. 115% is obviously a bit of an extreme example, so I wanted to be a little bit more realistic and give you something else to focus on now that I've got your attention. And what you can see here is a list of 15 clients where, we're seeing much more common renewal increases year over year on a benefits program. And again, all insurance carriers, with the exception of the Chamber plan, are looking at your employees' utilization and determining how much did they collect in premium, how much did they pay in claims, and what do they think is going to happen in a future year so that they can guess at whatever your renewal rate needs to be for the next 12-month period. That is pretty common practice in the industry. And so what you're seeing here is varying degrees of result of that effort from different insurance companies for different sized employers, all of which I work with specifically. And obviously you're seeing a range anywhere from an increase of 26% all the way down to client number 5 there was fortunate enough in this particular year to have a -3%, but there was only one of them. And so you're seeing across the board here, using this sampling of 15 clients, we're seeing an average renewal increase of 10.2% amongst 15 non-chamber benefit clients. So when I take that and compare it to the chamber plan, rather than looking at a sampling of chamber plan clients, what I've actually done is I did a deeper dive, and we're actually now looking at the 10-year history of the chamber plan for all clients across Canada within the chamber plan. So a very different statistic, but it certainly shows you a different level of stability, going back to that stability piece I mentioned earlier. So in the last decade, from 2012 to 2021, the national average was 3.8% increase to small businesses across Canada who participate in the chamber plan. The highest in 10 years being still less than 6%. And I can tell you, I've been monitoring this chart now for the last 10 years. So in my brain, I've got almost 20 years of history. And I can tell you that 5.9 you're seeing on this screen is I believe, the highest I've seen in 20 years. So the stability goal that the chamber plan set out to accomplish 45 years ago is being met and exceeded year over year over year. You're seeing most recently, April 2021, I proudly delivered an average 3.1% increase across Canada. And within Ontario here, it was actually only 2.7% for Ontario employers. So the stability is unmatched. The way they accomplish it is through what we call pooling. A traditional insurance provider, there's lots of strength to these carriers, and sometimes it can work in your favor. It really does just depend on your circumstances, and an individual consultation is always what I encourage folks to engage in with a broker that they trust. But through that determination, we're going to figure out what is your own risk tolerance as a business owner. How much do you want to rely on your trust that your team is healthy and won't sort of overuse their benefits, and how much do you want to rely on an insurance provider to just sort of wrap you around with some cellophane and tell you it's all going to be okay and not have to worry too much about it, right? So with a traditional insurance provider on the right side of your screen, you are carrying most of the risk, and they're supporting you to a certain degree along the way through those renewal calculations. In a pooled program, the chamber plan being, again, by far Canada's largest, that's the insurance provider actually taking on some of, or even in many cases, all of the risk. And you're simply not having to worry about your employees' utilization. And that's really how they've, over the past, 4.5 decades, have managed to accomplish that stability. So a couple of quick statistics. 30,000 represents roughly, I think it's a little over that now, but roughly the 30,000 employers across Canada use the chamber plan for their provider to attract and retain their employees, again, because they're giving great benefits to their employees to accomplish that goal of attracting and retaining staff. But they're also able to do so in a confident environment where they know that their renewals and their pricing year over year is going to be manageable, and they're not going to be hit with a surprise. 162,000 represents roughly the number of employees that work for those 30,000 employers. So that pool is massive. Even if one of your employees has a hard hit claim one year, they have some heavy medications or something else that could otherwise really drive up those rates. Literally in a pool this large, it's kind of the equivalent of throwing a stone in Lake Ontario. The pool just won't feel it in the same way because you're not on your own. And 3.7 million is a nice big number. That represents the number of transactions that the insurance provider, the chamber plan, actually transacted last year. So that's health claims, dental claims, paramedical claims, drug claims, everything. So they are, again, a massive provider based head office out of Winnipeg, but again, stretch their services all the way across the country to all businesses who are members of a chamber and who choose to get involved in the program. So we'll shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about some stuff that's maybe a little bit more exciting than just math, because that's enough math for now. I want to talk to you about a little bit some of the other things that make the chamber plan stand out from some of the other programs that are available out there. And again, there are a lot of services that many insurance providers are offering. Chambers Plan is right on side with all of those apps for your phone, websites to navigate your benefits and that kind of thing. A few sort of unique pieces to the Chamber Plan that I thought I would sort of highlight that really kind of make it stand out. It truly is building a unique benefits plan just for you as a small business, and these are some of the sort of more attractive ways that they're accomplishing that goal. As a not-for-profit organization, because that is another point about the Chamber Benefits Plan, is that it is a not-for-profit entity. They often are reinvesting into the program by way of making new services available to the employees that participate in it without charging additional premium. And these are some of those programs. So you're seeing things like Teledoc, HR services for you as a business leader, Best Doctors, My Benefits Health. I've called it sort of Dr. Google. When employees are logged into the My Benefits administrative portal, there is a massive search engine in there. Pardon me. It is a curated list of results. We often will resort to Google when we have a rash or we're feeling dizzy or whatever. This is actually a vetted search engine where you can even sort of rely a little bit on some of the information that you're receiving back, because it's being vetted and monitored constantly by the Chamber Plan. Travel insurance is included in the health benefits program of all Chamber programs, and it's one of the few travel policies that doesn't even have a pre-existing conditions clause built into it. And you can even be traveling for as long as 6 months per trip, if your employer will let you be gone that long, of course. But it is a very flexible, very all-inclusive coverage as well. Speaking of flexibility, you're seeing that 20 hours a week. You're probably familiar, most insurance companies have a minimum number of hours a week that an employee must meet in order to qualify for benefits. That is often determined by the employer, and the insurance company will basically just have a minimum amount of hours, and the Chamber Plan is amongst the carriers that have the sort of most liberal at only 20 hours a week. You might internally say that the employees requiring 30 hours a week to hit your definition of a full-time employee, but the Chamber Plan is giving you flexibility on that as long as communication is there and they're aware of what your internal rules are. And of course, they also offer payroll integration as well too. So if you'd like the idea of a platform where you've got an external company helping to manage your payroll for your employees, they will do that, but they'll also integrate your benefit program into it. So if you give somebody a raise, or you hire somebody new, or you terminate an employee, for example, those updates only need to be provided to either the payroll provider or the benefits program, and the two will talk to each other to make sure that those updates are provided on both sides without you having to remember two transactions. So a lot of convenience kind of built in there as well. Part of the HR services that I mentioned earlier, again, the Chamber Plan is really built for small to medium-sized businesses. And the reality for us small businesses out there is that we don't have budgets as large employers, but we still have often HR challenges that are the same size, and not necessarily the ability to know how to manage or cope with it, because we don't have a director of HR in our firm of 10 employees or whatever. And so number one, you have a 1-800 number that you can call as a business leader to provide, to receive coaching or support in how to navigate various situations, maybe a problem employee, or maybe an employee who's struggling and you're trying to find a way to support them, and you want to make sure that you're doing so in an appropriate way. There's a 1-800 number you can reach out to get that support for your business as well. But also I'm highlighting this Healthy Business Bookmark, which is part of the My Benefits website when you're logged in as an employee. This is a massive sort of encyclopedia of white labeled documents that are often needed in the role of an HR person, whether they be job offer letters, termination letters, policy and procedures, all kinds of different things that you would need in managing the HR side of your business. And they're all available to you on an unlimited basis to sort of add your logo, edit them however you wish, and use those as sort of templates to manage the HR side of your business. That is something that's included for every business manager within the Chamber Plan as well too. So I'm going to stop talking for just a second, and we're going to give this a try. I think we're still doing okay for time here. A few of the programs are better expressed by the videos that I've got here rather than me trying to sort of explain them to you. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of them here very quickly. This is a bit of an experiment, so we'll go through this together. But Best Doctors and Teladoc are two of the services that I mentioned earlier that are included in the benefits program. And rather than me try to explain what they are, I thought a quick video might actually help.
When it comes to healthcare, getting the right diagnosis and treatment is fundamental. If a diagnosis is inaccurate, every next step pulls a patient further from the right care. At Best Doctors, helping patients get the right diagnosis and treatment is the foundation of everything we do. Unlike second opinion companies, which only focus on the most serious cases, Best Doctors provides medical guidance for every degree and type of medical uncertainty. That means we can make a difference for members no matter what medical issue they may be facing. Through our full suite of services addressing the complete continuum of care. Our core service is interconsultation. More than a second opinion, interconsultation is an in-depth review of a member's medical case by a Best Doctors expert. We collect all records, scans, images, and tests, match the case to the right specialist from our database of over 53,000, and provide a detailed, customized report they can share with their treating physician. Every Best Doctors expert has been recommended by other physicians who are asked, if you or a loved one needed a doctor in a given specialty, who would you choose? We also offer expert advice for members who are questioning their treatment or have general questions about their health. And if a member needs a doctor, we'll search our database for one who specializes in their particular medical challenge. We can even assist after unexpected acute traumas, helping members, their families, and local care teams make critical decisions during difficult times, right when the impact on costs and care is greatest. There's no travel, doctor visits, major time commitments, or member payments for our services. With Best Doctors, you improve the quality of care your members receive while helping to control costs. Through a program that rolls out easily, integrates powerfully with other care partners, and literally saves and changes people's lives. Whether someone is questioning surgery, seeking advice, or dealing with a critical illness, Best Doctors can help. Guided by a commitment to one thing, the right diagnosis and treatment. It's not just what's right for our members' health, it's what's right, period. Best Doctors, the reinvention of right.
Best Doctors is something that they invested in, the Chamber Plan invested in many years ago, 15, maybe even 20 years ago, and made it available to all family members, to all of your employees. Teladoc is another one that I'd like to touch on here very quickly.
I'm a working mom with 4 kids, ages ranging from toddler up to teenager, so it is really challenging when one of them gets sick. Scheduling a doctor's appointment is always an inconvenience because I usually have to miss work and work around the kids' school and activities. So having an option like Teladoc is a game changer. I can talk to a doctor anytime, 24/7, from anywhere, whether I'm at home or in the office or even in the car driving my kids around. So it is a huge help. The doctors that I've interacted with from Teladoc have been really great. They are always courteous and caring about the situation that we're dealing with, and they are experienced in their field, whether that's pediatrics or emergency medicine. So I always know that I'm dealing with a competent doctor. And one time my son had a severe diaper rash, and the doctor was able to identify it from a photo and get him a prescription within an hour, which was amazing because he was in a lot of pain, and it would have been awful to have to wait a day or two to see our normal pediatrician in order to treat his rash. So that was a great experience. The Teladoc app is really easy to use. I have my whole family in my account, so I can request a visit for any one of my kids or even my husband. And I have experienced really short wait times, and I'll get a call back in less time than it takes to even drive to the doctor's office or to urgent care. So it's a really convenient and easy way to get health care.
So these, like I said, are just a couple of the ancillary benefits that Chamber Plan has added over the years, Teladoc being a little bit more recent, probably in the last 4 years anyway. And again, available to everybody that participates in the health plan for them and their families. I got to say about Teladoc, I've used it personally a few times for myself and my family members, and it is a game-changing service in healthcare here in Canada. So really excited to see that the Chamber plan has jumped on board to make that service available to their members. Tax-free income. Let's talk about that for a quick minute. I'm sure it's got your attention. I just wanted to touch on Cost Plus. This is a deep dive. There's lots of content in here that we could talk about. I'm certainly not an accountant, but it's something I would encourage you to ask your accountant about if you do own a corporation and you have employees. Cost Plus, or a health spending account, is one of the many great ways that an employer can provide benefits and flexibility, most importantly, to their employees. It's something obviously that the Chamber plan, many providers obviously make available, but it's often a best kept secret. I find more often than not employers are unaware of their options within Cost Plus. This is basically the ability to take advantage of the CRA rule that suggests that health and dental benefits are tax-free to employees, which they are. Cost Plus, or a health spending account, is considered a health and dental benefit. So therefore, if there are costs that you or your employees are incurring that are not covered by a traditional benefits plan, whether it be Chamber plan or any provider, a health spending account or a Cost Plus program can actually allow you to fill in those gaps and get the reimbursement from your corporation on a tax-free basis for yourself and for your employees as well. So no income tax would be triggered in the hands of the recipient of those benefits or those dollars. And typically you would set sort of a fixed amount per year, $1,000, $500 a year, that the individual can use towards health and dental related expenses that a traditional plan didn't pay for. And they can be reimbursed up to that amount on a tax-free basis. That flexibility has become a really big topic of conversation in attraction and retention of employees because different people have different needs, and a health spending account is something that can help you to accomplish something unique and meaningful to each individual within the organization, and also be able to sort of manage those costs by having a fixed maximum as well. So I wanted to make sure that we touched on that as well. Retiree packages, again, from all providers. These are usually available. Retirement is something that's on a lot of people's minds, I find, these days. And so transitioning yourself or a team member from the group benefits plan over to a retiree program that they can sort of take away into the sunset with them as they enjoy their retirement years, and hopefully traveling more and still needing support with certain drugs, because not all drugs are covered under the Ontario program over 65, as well as dental and paramedical services and all kinds of other things are typically included in these travel benefit programs. Of course, the commercial for the Chamber is they also offer retiree plans, but most insurance providers do. So just something else that I encourage folks to be aware of and to explore before they move into a retirement situation themselves. Folks, thanks again for this opportunity. I appreciate you listening and watching along. I think probably one of the most important messages I can get across today is something I say to everybody. A business owner has two choices to make when they're selecting a benefits program. One of them is selecting an insurance provider, an insurance company, whether it be the Chamber plan or otherwise. The other decision they have is choosing a broker or consultant that they trust. I always encourage people to choose a consultant that you trust first, someone who's going to have your best interest at heart. They're going to have the knowledge and the ability to navigate the industry on your behalf. And once you've made that selection, move forward with that consultant and have them shop the market on your behalf. It's a complicated industry we work in, and to get this done right, you want somebody doing it on your behalf so you can stay focused on doing whatever it is that you do best. So choose your broker first and move forward from there. Thank you again for having us. Proud to be here and part of the Scugog Chamber, and just look forward to connecting with folks again soon. Be safe.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Peter, I'd like to thank you very, very much for being part of our show and sharing your wealth of expertise with us. We'll put your contact information on the screen so people can get a hold of you if they need to. Also, I'd like to thank Scugog Computers for their generous sponsorship of today's program. On behalf of the Scugog Chamber of Commerce, I'm Jonathan Van Bilsen. Thank you very much for watching, and stay safe.